When you eat processed food versus whole food, it's the same calorie count, it's the same macros on paper. So why do you feel like garbage after you eat the processed food? Why is there that little bit of regret? Oh, shouldn't have eaten that. The calorie counting model isn't really the answer. It's more of actually a problem. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. Calories are not the way to measure how well you're eating. So here's what's actually going on. Whole foods are structurally different. They're complex. A piece of salmon, a sweet potato, a handful of raw almonds, these require metabolic work. So this is the point. Whole foods requires metabolic work to actually get that broken down. It doesn't digest as easily, and that's actually good. That's what you want. The work that it is required to digest food is called the thermic effect. For protein, the body burns about 20 to 35% of the calories that you take in just to digest the food. For carbohydrates, it's 5 to 15%. Your body is really a furnace, just burning and processing meals. It's not a side effect, it's just the way it's supposed to be. That's how it's designed. And the cascade of physiological events that happen when you're burning that food, when you're burning that energy to burn your food, is what gets you ready to digest. Processed food was engineered to do the exact opposite. Food scientists years ago figured out how to strip out fiber, how to hydrolyze proteins, how to gelatinize starches before it ever reaches your mouth. So when the food gets to you, you don't have much work to do. It just goes right in. So that's not the way it's supposed to be. You don't burn as many calories when you're eating processed food, but the food hits your bloodstream a little too fast. Your pancreas was not built for that direct pipeline into the system. The process of burning and unpacking the calories from raw food, let's say an apple or a steak, that process gets your pancreas ready to receive the energy. And it's not just the speed. Your body looks at the chemistry coming in. And when we're looking at processed foods coming into the body, the synthetic emulsifiers, the refined seed oils, artificial flavoring, these can be perceived as foreign threats because really they are. Your body doesn't recognize these chemicals as food, and they're going to be flagged as stressors. Your immune system kicks up with some low-grade inflammatory response, which we don't need. Life has enough stressors. We don't need to shift our bodies towards fight or flight, especially actually when we're eating. We need to be in rest and digest mode. We need to be ready to eat, and those stressors make it difficult. So let's look at the chemistry a little bit here. Leptin enters the picture. Leptin is a hormone. It signals your brain that you've eaten enough. You can stop now. Ultra-processed foods actively break that leptin signal. The research is pretty consistent on this over the years. Eating these ultra-processed diets really get the person to a point where they're eating a lot more calories. Whole foods require that you burn calories. So it's almost like a workout. Processed foods are processed in your body too fast, and your chemistry doesn't have a chance to ramp up to be ready to digest and ready to take in that energy. And then the processed foods really just get you eating even more calories because your body does not recognize the food as food. It doesn't turn off that hunger signal. Your brain thinks you're still hungry, so you keep eating. So when leptin stops working correctly, your body shifts into an emergency mode. Cortisol and adrenaline step in to try to release the stored glucose and to keep the brain fed. This is what happens during stress. When you are stressed, you get this little jolt of glucose into your bloodstream. And if this is happening all the time, every day, and it's being triggered not by a threat or a lion running at you, but by eating a bag of chips, you're going to throw things off. Cortisol at these elevated levels tell your body to store fat, especially around the belly. So when you're starting to get some midsection body fat, you know that this system is starting to break. Your body is preparing for famine. That's what we do when we're under stress, but there's no famine. There's plenty of food. Now there's another layer here. There's a way to get through this. The other layer is the bacteria in your gut. The bacteria in your gut regulate inflammation. The bacteria in your gut produce neurotransmitters. They communicate directly with your immune system. So whole foods, especially fiber-rich plants, feed that bacteria. Processed foods, low in fiber, high in preservatives, literally starve them. Specifically, sodium benzoate and certain emulsifiers have been shown to disrupt the gut lining itself. When the gut lining degrades, these particles of information leak into your circulation. So your system has to fight all day long just to stay at baseline. So let's get practical. So what do you do? How do you get through this? So I'm not asking you to overhaul your kitchen this weekend. Let's start with an audit. Go through and see what you have in your kitchen. Identify anything with more than 5 ingredients, especially if the ingredients are names that you can't pronounce. Then for 14 days, shift towards single ingredient foods. You're not doing the diet. Don't worry about calorie restriction. Just look at foods that are more simple, that are more whole. Watch what happens to your energy in the afternoon. Your sleep quality, your baseline mood, see if those change. Your biology moves fast. It moves faster than you expect. And over a few days, you may start to notice a significant change in your mood, maybe in your level of depression or anxiety. It can make a big difference. So if you need some help mapping this out, I love sitting down and actually talking with people for 20 minutes. We do that over a video call. I call it a systemized discovery call. Here's a QR code or links in the description. Jump on there, free, I sell nothing, but supply is limited. Have a great day. Thanks for making it to the end of this video.